This session today, we're going to go over several items. Again, next slide, please. Again, we'll start by introducing you to some of, I'm faculty and staff on the program. There are several faculty members who I'm sure would be able to answer any questions that you might have, again, about the program itself, any of the content of the program. We're going to talk about the course offerings, again, describe the admission process, and then Nikki and Ben can talk about their experience in the program. Shaima, can you go to the next slide? So this is a 30 credit program. There are 24 core courses and 6 electives. We ask that the electives be epidemiology and a policy class. There's a capstone project at the end where we want you to bring together what you've learned in the program in some kind of approach to a policy issue that you might be interested in looking at further. And again, this is we're trying to make this, while it's academically involved, there's lots of science and policy work. It's also very practical. And so we want to give you practical experience in the capstone that you can take with you for future ideas for future employment and your career going forward. For this year, the tuition, it's a flat tuition, it's not per credit hour. And this is for the tuition for this coming year. So the fall of 22 or the summer of 22 till 23. Next slide, please, Shaima. And actually, let's go to the next slide because we've gotten a lot of questions, understandably, about what the program looks like. So we start in the summer, July 5th of this year till August 12th. It's a condensed program for the summer. It's 6 weeks. Because it's a summer program, we don't expect everyone to move to DC in that first summer. So it's a remote program. So healthcare finance is one of the programs. I apologize, I don't have the dates yet because the professor for that is in flux right now. U.S. Addiction Policy is a survey course, Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's taught by Dr. Talid El-Sabawi, who is both a PhD and a lawyer, who teaches about, again, U.S. addiction policy from, its early days to today. And then lastly, statistics and data. And that class is taught by Dr. Christopher Jones, who is with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and is an expert in how to use data and analysis and statistics to drive addiction policy. And then in the fall, it's in person. That's when we have the Intro to Neuroscience class, an integrative seminar that I teach on Fridays. And it is, we have a variety of speakers. We talk about a number of topics. The purpose of the seminar is to bring together the science that you're learning and policy. And we have a variety of speakers who can address those issues. And then Foundations of Addiction Psychiatry 1, that's taught by Dr. Wilson Compton. He is the Deputy Director of the National Institute on Drug Abuse, and then a NIDA. And then we have an elective that you can take. Again, either epidemiology or a policy class. In the fall, it's usually an epidemiology class. In the spring, there's neurobiology of drug addiction taught by Dr. Italo Machedi. Dr. Machedi is in the neuroscience program. So this class is not only for students in the addiction policy and practice program. In this class, you'll be with other neuroscience majors, other master's students. And then again, the integrative seminar, Foundations of Addiction Psychiatry 2. So Addiction Psychiatry 1, you go over prevention, treatment. In this one, you go over more detail on treatment and recovery programs. And again, another elective. In the summer, there's a program, Comparative Approaches to Addiction Policy. That will be taught by Brandon Del Pozo. He is a former police chief in Burlington, Vermont. He also is a postdoc right now at Brown University. And his class, he has not yet decided when the class will be held, but again, 6-week program. And then Statistics and Data, which is a continuation of Dr. Jones's class. And then the capstone. And the capstone, again, it's a topic of your choosing. We'll ask you to write a paper as well as some policy aspects. So you could write legislation, you could write a congressional testimony. You could write an op-ed. Those are all aspects of how do you drive the policy and the science you're learning to change addiction policy going forward. So those are the course listings. I'm happy to take any questions that you might have on this, on these courses themselves, and you can direct them to either myself or any of the students as well. So just let me know if there are questions. Otherwise, we'll turn it over to Kelly. Next slide, please, Shaima, to talk about the admissions process.
Thank you. We have our admission portal is open right now, and that's your first step in starting this process. Everything is online. You'll need to submit your resume or a CV, a personal statement. We have some guidance for this on the website. What we're looking for there is why are you coming to this program? Why Georgetown? And what we use that to do is to make sure that what you're looking for is what our program can deliver. So it's valuable for us to see if, what you want to do is what we offer. And it's also really valuable exercise for you as an applicant to get some clarity about what do you want out of this degree? What's your why? What's your intention in joining that? So it's worth being thoughtful about, but don't get yourself so tied up in it or paralyzed that you never push send on that. But it's a chance for you to think about why you want to do that and for us to see if what you want fits with what we offer. You need letters of recommendation, 2 letters of recommendation. You give us their email address and then we reach out to them. If you are a non-native English speaker, we have more guidance on the website about this, that we need your test scores so that you have, you'll prepare to be successful. As Professor LaBelle said, our courses start in July. So have that in mind as you're planning your life. And then we have further information about how to pay for it on the website, and I can ask or answer some general questions about the process and application or financial aid.
All right. Well, thanks. Shaima, I think you can take the slides down, and I would like to turn this over now to our students who I'm so happy can participate in this session today. So I'll let you, Ben and Nikki, introduce yourselves, and then if you could just say a few words, and then if anyone has questions, specific questions, if you want to talk about what you're interested in pursuing from a career perspective, and potentially how this program is helping you prepare for that. So we'll start with Ben and then turn to Nikki.
Sure, thanks, Regina. So my name is Ben Freifeld. I'm really glad to be here today and see some familiar faces in the crowd like David and Tyler, and also to see some people who I don't know yet. But just to give a little bit of background on me, I'm a recent college graduate. It was not my first time in undergraduate education, but I've recently finished up, and my background is in social work with the undergraduate degree. And I've also spent some time working with Tyler, actually, at the Guilford County Solution to the Opioid Problem, which is a harm reduction service agency in Greensboro, North Carolina. And my experience in this program has been incredible. I think that coming into it, I didn't quite know what to expect. I think it was a new program. I'd never been to graduate school. Those were, 2 really big question marks for me. But the reason that I picked it is I knew that I wanted to get involved in the policy area around substance use and around basically just finding ways to offer compassionate services and treatment to people who use drugs and people who have substance use disorder. And coming into this program with the vision of having the science background and the evidence there in order to then inform the policy and drive the decisions that we're doing, or the decisions that we will be making, that has, I think that the vision is the reality. I found that the coursework and the conversations that happen, especially in the seminar course, are absolutely in line with that, which gives me a lot of hope for the field. And that's what I'll say for now, but happy to answer more questions later.
Great. Thanks so much, Ben. Hi, my name is Nikki Soda, and I work full-time. My position is the Membership and Advocacy Officer for the National Association of Addiction Treatment Providers, also known as NATAP. Part of our mission statement for the association is having a seat at the table. And so for me, going back to school to achieve this master's was a big part of having a seat at the table. And so for me, that was really important. Unlike Ben, it has been almost 20 years since I completed my undergraduate. And so this has been a great learning experience for me to be able to get back into as far as being back into school. And I had 10 years in the behavioral health field. And so with that, policy has really come to the forefront of my mind in the last 2 years. And so I really wanted to take a deeper dive into being able to understand how to create policy and to understand the science behind it as well. So one of the things that I was a little nervous about when I was going through these informative sessions was the neuroscience and the data. And I do want to say that the professors are extremely kind and understanding that majority of our cohort was coming into this not wanting to be neuroscientists, but wanting to understand how it affects how addiction and substance use disorder, can impact and affect our brain. And so I do want to put that out there because it was a little intimidating for me, and the professors could not be more understanding and kind with this. And so the other part that I want to say is that I was very excited to be able, quite frankly, to have a class with Director LaBelle. And all of our professors are bringing this immense amount of experience. And so we get to learn. We have the privilege of learning from those who have been in the depths of it. And so to me, that's been really impactful, is being able to learn firsthand experience. So it's not just textbook reading, it's really, all right, this is what happened last year, and being able to have those firsthand experiences. And the other thing that I wanted to say is that in the seminar that Director LaBelle does, facilitates on Fridays, is we have guest speakers come in almost every week. And the guest speakers are extremely knowledgeable, and they have positions all over. So it's very diverse. So we're doing things from all sorts of different harm reduction components to, we have one coming up on the science and spirituality. And so it really is a full gamut. And so I'm talking a lot, and I'm happy to answer questions about balancing having a full-time job and doing this program, and the challenges, the pros and cons to that.
Can I add something to reflect off of that? I think, Nikki, you said a couple of things that really resonated with me that I want to share also about. One of that is the piece about the seat at the table. I think that this program has done a really good job in our cohort of valuing really diverse backgrounds. And I think that everybody is bringing both a skill, like professional skill set and personal skill set to this table that I think is going to be really valuable for the field going forward. And that this is also a program that really values people with lived experience and offers respect and compassion at every level of what's happening here. And then part of that is also that this really does feel like sort of a meeting of the minds, or the brain trust, in the sense that we have folks coming from all kinds of different angles on the continuum, in the sense of speakers and students who are on the more kind of like traditional residential treatment or harm reduction or enforcement or just all over the place. We have somebody who does have a really strong neuroscience background. Like Nikki said, most of us do not. And I will echo what she said, that was an apprehension of mine coming in here, was how am I going to do in these stats and neuro courses? But I have been impressed at, I think, how deftly the professors have navigated working with us, as well as how we have all risen to the occasion. And that is part of, I feel like I have just halfway through this program that I'm coming away with a brand new skill set, which was a really important consideration for me in thinking about a graduate program to pick. I wanted to pick something that was going to help in terms of kind of like professional outlook and being right in the field, but also wanting to walk away with just new abilities and new perspective and all of that.
Thanks, Ben. I think one of the things that we're trying to do in this program, and just a little bit about my background, I worked in the Obama administration for 8 years in the White House Office of National Drug Control Policy, and then I was acting director of the Office of National Drug Control Policy last year. I took a leave of absence from Georgetown. And what I found, before that I worked in the city of Seattle as legal counsel, and what I found over the years in working in this issue is that much of our drug policy has been developed from the I knew a guy approach as opposed to science approach. And so there's a lot of clinicians who understand the science of addiction, but may not understand how policy happens or what the tools are. And so what we do try to do is make sure that people are exposed to all aspects of how you make policy, as well as it's really important to me, also to the students, that we are respectful of all aspects also of the policy continuum. We have someone from law enforcement, we have folks with harm reduction background, treatment, et cetera. So that diverse perspective, those diverse perspectives are reflected in both our student body, and we try to reflect it also in the instructors that we have. So we're happy to answer any questions that you might have for us about the program, any of the courses.